let's talk a little bit more about like Cypher Cup and like how like what, because you started as like this thing to get younger people more involved in the scene and stuff, and it's kind of grown a lot, and now you do it kind of as a yearly event that, like, I mean, it seems like it's one of the bigger events nowadays, at least in the like Northern California area. How do you feel about that, and what are you trying to build with that? And
I guess, you know, when it was like 2007 on, like I could feel the scene kind of like, the Bay Area scene was not what it used to be.
It used to be a jam every weekend.
Yeah.
And now it's not like
and
that.
then all the heavy hitters would be there. People would fly out for Bay Area events.
I think it's because every city had a big crew that just rolled through. You know, you had Renegades, you had Headhunters, you had Hybrid, you had Rock Force, you had Flex, you had DSD1. Like, so there's like, every area had this like representative crew that's just coming through and just wrecking it. And there was, I think, more of a city kind of thing, you know, where it's like, oh, it's like San Jose versus San Francisco today. Let's see what happens, you know.
Yeah, and everybody's good from their own respective like areas in their own way. It's just, it was amazing back then. Yeah,
it's different now because I don't think it's like such a city by city kind of thing. Yeah, you know, I guess there's less. What would you call it? Less of a segregated community, and they're more like together now. So it's kind of like the whole Bay Area scene is like, you know, like one, which is cool too. But you don't have that rivalry, I think, that you used to back in the day.
Yeah, and you don't have that like tight kind of kinship where you know you have your crew and you kind of like stick with your crew.
Yeah, crews have disappeared, I think, largely.
Yeah, I think like the transition was probably when people were growing up and then they were trying to make something happen. Yeah. Usually from, you know, where we are in NorCal, people would try to make it down here in Hollywood, trying to do trying to take that next step in dance or whatever they could make of themselves. Yeah. And so that includes a lot of like the big names, a lot of people that I look up to. They look to, you know, Hollywood for the next thing. Yeah. So that kind of left a gap in the scene, I feel, that whole LA thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It wouldn't be good for them to hold animosity towards each other because they would lose work. Basically.
Yeah. And the more we go to jams, the more we see each other. It's like, okay, you know, we start to understand, okay, we're all like in the same community now. Yeah. And so like I think it was Cypher Cup really came out because it was just because of the impact I knew it had on the kids, and I knew how many kids that were like learning breaking in high school. Because when I taught dance like this, it was way bigger than how it was for me in high school too. At least when I was teaching at my high school in Lybrook, they had like up to like 30, 40 kids in the B-Boy club. Yeah. And it was just amazing. And I knew something needs to happen with these kids. Going back to my original like kind of hunch about making a small jam just for these smaller kids who never had a chance on a real jam. And yeah, that blew up. There was so much energy. So it started in 2009. And I knew some B-Boys within the scene, the older B-Boys within the scene would say, oh yeah, our scene kind of died. No, what happened to the crowd? The crowd is dead, blah, blah, blah. But then I was like, no, have you come to Cypher Cup? Have you seen how hyped these kids are? Yeah, yeah. It doesn't even matter what level these guys are at.
Yeah, they're just hype.
Exactly, because they're like, they have the energy. You know, when you're young and you're learning something new and people like throwing themselves into moves, it just brings it back. You just got to hit it like the right way with the right group of people and present it like kind of like in a fresh way, which I try to keep it small. I don't believe in big venues, which is why like I try to avoid like having jams at gyms.
Like a gym,
because a jam is a social thing, you know. And I need to make people rub shoulders.
Okay, yeah.
Because you kind of like so that they can actually have a space to interact Because if you have too much of a space, it depends. If you have a big jam, if you can fill up a gym, do that. But my jams don't really fill up that much, so so my jams don't bring that many people. So I like it smaller, and that worked really well because you have ciphers going on. Because if you have too much dead space, ciphers are kind of weird.
Yeah, they do look kind of weird because you have like a circle here and then a circle like.
It's like a practice spot.
Yeah, it is a practice spot, yeah.
So I don't want a practice spot. I want like
you want some drama a little bit.
Exactly. So that's why my first event was at like a small dance studio just for the kids. And then we had an idea of doing a Shark Tank. This was This was before Cypher Prelims was a thing. And but where the reason why I brought that in was because by the time it was like 07, 08, 09, the ciphers were kind of dead. Like people were more practicing in their own circles than having real ciphers. And that's when the idea actually came from Drift. At one of his jams, we saw outside the venue, there's like a weird cage. I guess it was like a small little patch of grass, like the size of a cipher. Yeah. That's like fenced off for some reason. And we were like, why is this patch of grass fenced off?
Some special grass.
And then Drift was like, that's the Shark Tank. You got to throw yourself in there in a cipher and you can't get out.
Yeah.
That's the Shark
It's
Tank.
like the octagon, basically. Throw them in the octagon and see what happens.
So with that idea, and I want to bring back the ciphers and the whole like energy back. So that's why I was like, all right, the concept is lock the doors for 30 minutes.
Yeah, and just go.
And you have 30 minutes and you have secret judges to pick top 4 people. Yeah. And just go. And then at the end, the top 4 is a 4-way battle, no rules, time limit. Go at it. That would be the finals. And that brought back the ciphers.
That's tight.
At one point, and I moved to a bigger venue, to the Santa Clara Teen Center, and we had like 9, 10 ciphers.
Yeah, that's tight.
Yeah.
We at some of the jams that my brother would always do, Cream, and he did a bunch of other ones, but like, so for prelims, it always gets like really boring when you're doing like showcase battles. So we were like, man, screw that. Let's just do something crazy. And so he had this idea to just call up like 10 people or like 15 people, and he would just call it like the Cipher of Death. And he's just like, all right, we're just going to go for like 20 minutes. And just, we're only going to pick like 2 people from this Cipher of Death. And then it's just chaos because it's like, you can basically take as many rounds as you want or as little rounds as you want. And so you'd see people just like going, I got to do it. And they're like doing like 20 rounds or whatever. And some people are like, no, it's my turn to do it. And it's just freaking chaos. And we had to like slow it down a little bit and make some rules for it because people would start like really like fighting and stuff. But that crap was crazy. And so we would do probably like 3 different ciphers of death every jam. And so it was like insane.
That's also part of the reason why I kind of stopped Shark Tank, was because it wasn't fun anymore.
It gets crazy.
Yeah, people just hog the floor. Like there was no etiquette for the circle.
Goes away.
Yeah. When back I had the Shark Tank, it was okay because Cyber Cup was for the kids. The main competition is for the kids. Yeah. And I still want to bring in the rest of the scene. So I was like, all right, let's make it like a Cypher thing, which is the Shark Tank for everybody else. And so the older guys know, like, not to step in, kind of like a little bit more respect. Yeah. And that's why it kind of worked. And you have that energy. But then as time goes on, it was like no etiquette. It was like, oh, like, look at me. I got to throw down. It's like, I have a lot to prove. I need to hog the floor space and not let anyone do anything. Or like, it was so bad. That's why now when I see kind of prelims, Cypher prelims, it's just not what I want to do.
Because it is chaos. Yeah.
And for me personally, if I want to enter an event, like, I don't even want to do a Cypher prelim because I'm not that way of like, I don't want to push people out of the way to prove myself. So
I think it's fun to watch, but it's not fun to be a part of. And if there wasn't a competition involved with it, I'm like, okay, cool. But
yeah, pretty much. And yeah, now I guess I brought it up to the level. So I learned a lot from living in Korea, working with R16 about like the next level of production value in events. So I see the potential of how like B-Boy jams could be. And then I took that into Cypher Cup where people kind of grew up a bit, and then I lost that connection with the high school kids now.
Yeah.
So that's why Cypher Cup is more like for everybody. And I decided to kind of take what I learned and make it the jam better and bigger. And luckily, I was practicing at this gym in San Jose. It's called Bay Area Movement. Now they're called Sessions Gym. And they were just opened up this parkour gym. It's amazing.
Okay.
Parkour, free running. They had like all sorts of structures.
That's the one that you do Cypher Cup at now? Yeah. Okay. I've seen it. Yeah.
And it was like they're new and they're like trying to come up. They're trying to find different ways to like fill up the space. And then so I was like, oh yeah, I'm interested in throwing a jam. And they're like, oh yeah, just bring them in. Then they love the idea of having a B-Boy competition in there. Actually, the other part of what got me to start throwing Cypher Cup again, it was my crewmate, the new crewmates in hybrid, Louis, Rahul, and Dranil. They're the ones who like are hungry. And it was Louis that wanted to throw a jam. Like he was gonna do a random, like just start a new jam. Be like, oh, I want to just throw any jam. I'm like, oh, why don't you just pick up Cypher Cup? People know about it.
Yeah.
And just let's keep growing.
Yeah.
And that's what brought me back in. And and the space was amazing. Like it's a warehouse with like, you know, the half pipe going on.
Yeah, it looks like a skate park, but you can't skate in it. It's like it's like a padded skate park.
Yeah, and there's like spring floor.
Yeah, there's a spring floor.
It's pretty cool because I saw like the people like the power heads or the trickers sessioning on the spring floor.
Yeah, and
then the other part of the floor, the concrete floor, like people are like that's where the jam is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then I had like RJ, Kuravu RJ to help out with the lighting and the DJing. And that lighting actually, this is the first time I really utilized like lights because I knew it just adds a lot more to the atmosphere.
Yeah, it does.
So it turned that gym into more like a space. A totally different space. Once you add some uplights, some spotlights, and then RJ had this really cool spotlight that can project the logo, the projector.
Oh yeah,
projects the logo. So I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna project the Cypher Cup logo on the freaking wall.
Yeah, that's tight. Yeah,
so you can see in the picture, you can see like huge like logo in the back.
Yeah,
spotlights on the floor, up lights on the side, and that creates a whole vibe.